Good day, I'm Sid Andres Fajardo and I'm here to show you the proper way of cleaning and sterilizing the filling bottles. The materials that we are going to need are bottles, warm water, tongs, bottle brush and sponge, nipple sponge, 3 basins for soaking, rinsing, and drying. And the first thing that we're gonna do is the most important thing of them all. Wash your hands. Proper hand washing is important because you're gonna be touching the bottles all the time. Once we are done, we can proceed on cleaning the bottles. First, take a warm water and put it in the first basin. Approximately 2 times of it. On the second basin for rinsing. Put some soap. We need to disassemble the bottle, of course, from caps, nipples, nipple rings, and bottles. Be careful and disassemble them. More importantly, on the nipple part. Then, we can now proceed on brushing the bottles. We need the water brush, of course, with the soap and water on it. Put it in the second basin to prepare it for the rinsing. You can clean the nipple ring using a sponge, of course. Be careful to avoid cracks. The cups too. And of course, the nipples. With the nipple plunge. Be careful to avoid cracks. After that, you have to rinse it, of course. And once you're done rinsing, you can use the tongs. Putting them, of course, on the dry basin. Smell. 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 For to know it's already okay. Let it cool on the dry basin. Now that the bottle components are clean, I need to dry them up by using a dry rack. But of course, since I don't have a dry rack, I improvise one. So I use a tray and I put a towel on it. Always be careful, especially on the nipple and the nipple rings. And now we are ready to transfer them for sterilization. And now that we are done in drying the bottles, we can proceed on sterilization. But first, the materials that we're going to use are the pot, the tongs, the jar, the pot cover, the pot holder, the towel, the warm water, and the bottle storage. In sterilization, first, we must put the towel beneath the pot. Why? Because we must avoid the bottles to be break. Then, we cannot put the bottles into the pot. Be careful as always. Avoid for the bottles to break. Regarding the nipples, I have an improvised jar here. So the nipple cups. Once it is done, we can now pour the warm water first into the bottles. For us to make sure they will be well sterilized. And also, on the jar with the nipple rings. And let's not forget, on the pot, we should put a 2/3 of water on it. Of course, for the exterior part of the bottles to be sterilized. Once we are done, we can put the pot cover and let's go to the stove. Now that we are done, we can now put the pot on the stove burner. Open the stove burner and allow the pot to full boil and wait for the timing for 25 minutes. Once we are done, we can now remove the pot cover and we can now remove the jar and nipples. Make sure it is 10 to 15 minutes after the full boil begins. Let it cool in a table after you have put it. Now that we are done, turn off the stove burner. We can now lift up the pot holder. We are ready to get on our bottles, sterilized bottles. Put on our dry rack, of course. You can also transfer carefully the nipple rings and nipples. Sterilized nipples. Let it dry. And once the bottles are dry, you can now carefully assemble them. Our sterilized bottles will be going on our bottle storage. Now that we're done, our bottles are now in our bottle storage. Once again, thank you. I'm Sidanes Fajardo, and this is the proper procedure on cleaning and sterilizing the feeding bottles.